Hello, hello. How are we all doing? Oh, excited to be here. Just going to make sure I'm in the right group. Say hello, Nicola. Let me know that you're there if you're watching on replay. Let me know that you watched this and that it makes some sense. Yes, there I am. If I look side to side, it's just because I'm going to check questions as they kind of come through. So, hi everyone. How are we all today? I think it's Easter Monday. I think it's Monday. Can't be sure at the moment. But I'm Nicola Buckley, and I'm going to be here just for about 30 minutes or so today, and I'm going to take you through how to create some clarity and some confidence in uncertain times, because the world is changing daily right now, isn't it? And it's quite difficult to keep up with. And I wanted to come in, and I've had quite a few of these type of slots over the last few weeks because I teach and coach clarity and confidence. That's my big thing. I'll tell you how I got into that in a minute. But today my intention for you all is just to take away some super simple feel-good steps that you can action today just to help bring you back to some clarity. Once you have clarity, it's a bit like a superpower, and you start to be able to take some steps forward and have the confidence to take some inspired action. Because you might be in a little bit of freeze at the moment. If you are, it's perfectly understandable. So please ask questions as I go through. It's my favourite when you ask questions. It just makes this whole process feel really, really good. And even if you're watching on replay, if Paul lets me stay in the group, I'll come back and I'll have a look. So does that sound good? Yeah? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about me, what I do, and who I am and what I do. Then I'm going to tell you about just what is going on in terms of how you're feeling and how that lack of certainty is going to be impacting on you. And then I'm going to go into, I've just got 5 or 6 super simple feel-good steps to take you through. So if you want to go and grab a journal or a pen or anything, that would be cool, because you might want to note some of these down or come back and have a run through again later. Okay, so who am I? So I'm Nicola Buckley. I live down in the West Country. I am a Cornish girl, proud Cornish girl. I'm in love with clotted cream and pasties and the beach. And I live with my partner. We live on the coast and we have 2 dogs that we share. I'm a proud dog mum. I'm a sea swimmer. I'm a casual crossfitter but not the all-in kind. It's too hard. And I have a business called Strong Her You, and in Strong Her You I help incredible women who are leaders and they're innovators, and they are also women who want more from their lives. I help them to rediscover their clarity on who they are and their confidence in what they want to create a more happy and fulfilled life and have a bigger impact on the world. So I describe myself as a head and heart coach because that's what I do. So the head part is I teach and coach these incredible women all about the logic of emotion. So the logic of emotion is what I call noggin knowledge, the neuroscience behind why you might say, think, feel and do certain things that don't serve you. So, why are you comfort eating? Why are you self-sabotaging? Why are you being so hard on yourself? Why do you feel like a fraud? So what is the actual neuroscience behind that? And then I also teach and coach these brilliant women just to create time and space in their own lives and in their own minds to really truly reconnect to who they are, just cut out the noise, reconnect to who they are, and out of that what they want. So that combines into a 5-step clarity and confidence progress that I have. Hi Paul, how are you? And I absolutely love what I do. It's my purpose and it's my passion. And if I hadn't been on my own self-discovery journey, I wouldn't have got to where I am today. And I do my clarity and confidence coaching, I do through VIP coaching, which is with me one-to-one, through group programs, and when I can, retreats and workshops, obviously not for right now. And I have an online program called the Mastermind, which I absolutely love. So that's me and what I do. Hi, hello Paul, how are you? That's who I am and what I do. And how did I come to be doing what I do now? I had a 16-year corporate marketing career. I ran multi-million pound launches for really big household names, and I was really good at it. And it looked externally like I had this great life, and I had the convertible parked on the driveway. I had a closet full of clothes with brilliant labels in. I was a lady that lunched. I had a lovely house that I lived in that I did up room by room. And I went on 3 or 4 big holidays a year. So my parents thought I was a success. They would tell all their friends about what I was doing, and my friends thought I had made it. And it looked externally like I had. But actually, internally, it was a very different story. And I'd never felt like I fitted in. I felt like I was always trying to be the good girl and just fit into the background and never stand out. I had just been through a separation and divorce from my childhood sweetheart, so that was really, really difficult. And for all of that, I don't think I had any clue who I was. So I'd gone from being the good girl for my parents to being the little wife that says yes for my husband, through to in the corporate world desperately trying to fit in, losing the hard edges of who I was, to then running my own business and very much following what my coaches and my mentors told me to do. So I don't think I'd ever really known who I was. And all of this came to a head in a particular, what I call a fuck it moment, of that moment of when I knew I couldn't go on. Because my dad was severely suffering with anxiety and depression. My mum rang me one particular day. She said to me, guess how many words your dad said to me today? And I said, I don't know. And she said, he said 5 words to me today. He said yes, and he said no, and I can't do this anymore. And can I come and stay with you and have a bit of a break? And at that moment, I was struggling so much myself that I said no. And it was in that moment of when I knew I couldn't help and support my parents and the people that had given me the most love and support ever in my life, and still to this day continue to do that, that I knew I needed to make a change. So I went for a 3-stage journey. So the first, I'm a geek. I tend to get very passionate about things. So the first thing I geeked out on was nutrition. I became a nutritional therapist, and I just fell in love with losing that battle with food. So it wasn't about, trying to cut down, cut out, cut back. It was actually about eating with love and understanding how food made me feel, and what helped me to feel great, what would help me to tone up and lose weight, what would give me enough energy for training, and just really educate myself on all that. That was the first stage. The second stage was that I then walked into a CrossFit gym, saw a lot of men with their tops off training, and women doing incredible things that I'd never seen women doing, and lifting really heavy weights. And I thought, whatever this is, I'm absolutely intoxicated by it. And again, I geeked out. So I became a CrossFit athlete, a British weightlifting coach, a CrossFit coach, and I ended up leaving my corporate job and running my own gym. So that was the second stage of self-discovery. The third stage, which is the most relevant today, as I had my gym, some of my clients were getting incredible results. Other ones of my clients were very on and off. And then there were some clients that would even invest a full amount of money, and then they would just simply disappear off the radar. And I felt like I wasn't serving them. So I saw this course promoted, and it was called Mind Map. It was with an amazing guy called Dax Moy. And that weekend, I just spent the weekend in a very plain meeting room for a legal firm in London. And my whole world changed. And I spent the entire weekend in tears. And it wasn't even just like a light bulb had gone on for me. It was like Blackpool illuminations. It just lit up something inside of me, because I learned all about the noggin knowledge. I learned about the brain. I learned about the female brain. I learned about why we say, think, feel and do certain things that don't serve us, and why it's not our fault. But once we know, we can actually take it as our responsibility, and once we know better, we can do better. And I realised so much of my life where I'd been really hard on myself, or felt like a failure, or felt like I'd been hadn't been the good girl and been the one that had ended the marriage, and I carried a lot of blame and guilt and responsibility. I felt that I realised it wasn't my fault. So I have now dedicated probably the last 7 or 8 years to learning everything I can about noggin knowledge, and then I've brought that together into an end-to-end process to help women get away from feeling that confusion about who they are and what they want, to actually coming back home to themselves and having that, becoming the world leading expert in themselves. So that's who I am and what I do. First thing I wanted to start with was just asking you a question, and be brave and be bold, but just wanted to ask you, like, how are you feeling right now? How are you feeling in everything that's going on? Just pop it in the comments below. It'd be really good to know. Oh, that's good cup of tea. Sound like my mum. Because if you're anything like my community and my clients, it's been everything from just crying randomly, crying right in the shopping list, one client was saying. Another client is very, very happy to be furloughed and out of quite a toxic work environment. Another client is sleeping, just wants to sleep endlessly. Another client is not sleeping. There's a lot of uncertainty for many of my clients and their businesses. And a lot of my clients are just feeling like it's very, very heavy at the moment. So the thing I wanted to do just with that is just explain that, just really prompt you back to, like, there is no right or wrong way to feel right now. There is no guidebook for how you should be acting and what you should be doing during a global pandemic. We have never been through this before. We are at a unique time in history, and it's just think of it as you're doing the best you can. And it's what Brené Brown would call a fucking first time. If you haven't listened to a new podcast called Unlock, go and have a listen to the first episode. She talks about FFTs, and FFT is a fucking first time. And globally, we are going through an FFT. And it's that moment of when we know we're in it and we're committed, but we don't actually feel like we know what we're doing. And we don't have a clear way forward. And it's just allowing yourself to be in that FFT. Allowing yourself to be in, oh my God, I don't really know what I'm doing process. Oh my God, how am I going to work from home with the kids there? How's this going to affect going to the gym? And I really want to focus on my food still, but actually all I want to do is comfort eat. How's it going to affect our finances? And we're saving for a house. How's it going to affect the children and not seeing their friends so much? Like, we just don't know right now. So the first thing to say to you all is, anything that you're feeling right now, whatever you're saying, thinking, feeling and doing, it's probably just the best that you can, right? But I'm going to give you some tools today to help you back to some clarity. But I'm going to start with why we feel overwhelmed. So is anyone feeling overwhelmed right now? Again, just pop it in the comments. I can see a few of you online, but you're not very chatty at the moment. That's it. So why do we feel overwhelmed, right? Why are we lacking that certainty? So the brain is a prediction and response tool above anything. It looks for safety in the same things happening over and over again. So what that means is it looks for safety in routine and structure and just repeated patterns of either behaviour or what we do and when we do it. So if you think about it right now, this is from our caveman, cavewoman days, and the brain evolved just to help us survive so that we could evolve as a species. So the caveman, cavewoman is almost, we're being pushed. There is no prediction response right now. There is no certainty outside of ourselves. We don't know when we're going to come out of this and what it's going to look like and how the economy is going to be, how are our jobs going to be, how is the business going to be. Like, we don't know at the moment. So what that means is that part of the brain that just searches for certainty, which is part of the brain at the back here, the most ancient part, called the animal brain, you might have heard of it from the chimp paradox, called the chimp brain. That part of the brain only looks for certainty, and it doesn't have that right now. So I'm going to help you with that in a minute. But I want you to know, when you're in that part of the brain, the words that you're going to be using, kind of symptoms if you like, you can be using words like stressed and worried and anxious. Physical symptoms are going to be your heart rate's raised, your muscles are going to feel quite tense, you're probably going to feel quite brain foggy, like you can't really think. You're probably going to be easily overwhelmed, you might feel a bit indecisive, and you're just going to feel like it's all hard work at the moment. So if you're feeling like that, perfectly natural and normal. But what I wanted to say is, it's that whole premise of, once you know better, do better. So if you're feeling all those things, it's perfectly natural, it's perfectly normal. There's just a brain process and mechanism that sits behind it, which is that need for certainty, that need for clarity. And when the brain doesn't have that, the other thing that it does that you just need to understand is the brain will go back to all your old stories, your old beliefs and your old habits. So everything that's helped you survive so far. So if you're doing all this great work with Paul and the team to change how you eat, to change how you exercise and really focusing on you, and actually you find yourself maybe going back to comfort eating, for example, and that's a habit you've had for a long time, you're not a failure, you're not weak, you're not lazy, you're not stupid, you're not greedy, you're none of those things. Your brain is just searching for the things that it knows helps you to stay alive. Your brain is just searching for certainty in your old patterns of behaviour and your habits and your stories. Does that make sense? Yeah? Hopefully that makes sense. So that's the noggin knowledge, that's the neuroscience of what's going on. So hopefully that really helps you to see it's not about blame, it's not about being hard on yourself right now. We're in an FFT, there is no clarity, there is no prediction response. So you will be back to your old stories, your old beliefs and your old habits. All right? So how do we get past this then? So there's just a process that I've put together, which is based on all the work that I do with my clients, just to help you come back to some clarity right now. So if you have got a journal or pen to write this down, that would be awesome. So the first step is all about just giving yourself time to stop and pause, which sounds ironic when you're likely to be busier than ever. It might be that you needed to pivot your business. It might be that you're now working from home and you have the children there. It might be that your partner's a key worker and you can't see them for a period of time. Like, this global pandemic has affected everyone, every family, in a slightly different way. But within that, you're not going to get less overwhelmed or have more clarity through doing more. You need to take a little bit of time just to stop and to pause and to check in with yourself and ask yourself, how do I feel today? So even if that's just over a cup of tea, even if it's just 5-10 minutes, just to stop and pause. Important part of noggin knowledge is you don't have the big ideas and the breakthroughs in the day-to-day. Your brain waves are short and spiky, very close together. The big ideas and the clarity will come in the long and looping brain waves that are from when you relax and you switch off. And in that time is when you're going to be able to see clearly. In that time is when you're going to come back to clarity. In that time is when you're not being distracted by social media or putting pressure on yourself, and you can actually just come back to what you want. Yeah, does that make sense? So first step, stop and pause. Even if you say you're too busy, even if it's just literally over a cup of tea, 5-10 minutes, we can all, if you can't find 5 or 10 minutes a day, something desperately wrong. So that's the first step. The second step then is to let yourself feel all your feelings. Like I said earlier, there's no right or wrong way through this. It's a fucking first time for all of us. So all your feelings are valid, all your feelings are relevant, all of your feelings are perfectly natural and perfectly normal. So let yourself feel all of them. Try not to numb out on alcohol or food or super busy or being highly productive, or you don't necessarily, the memes around, you need to just make the most of this time by writing the book, the screenplay, learning a new skill, learning how to cook and make. Like, no, you really don't have to. But you do need to have that process where you come back to yourself, let yourself feel all the feelings, and just let yourself be with them. Because we're taught from such an early age just to switch off how we feel, and just not let ourselves feel it. You fall over when you're young and you graze your knee, and your mum's suddenly there next to you and she's like, oh no, it doesn't hurt. And it actually just fucking hurts. It's okay to feel those feelings. And as we grow up, we're told that we're maybe over emotional or oversensitive, or, you know, we're just told that we feel too much, so we tend to put it in a box. We tend to put it away. You don't need to do that through this. It will help you more. Your feelings will it will be like a forest fire popping up in other things. So it might be that you've had a bit of a row with your partner and then you want to comfort eat. It's not the comfort eating, it was the trigger of the row with your partner. So your feelings over here have influenced what you're doing here. So look, number 2 is let yourself feel all the feelings. Number 3 is check in with yourself. So that's when you stop and you pause and breathe, but you're also asking yourself that question: how do I feel today? What do I think I need today? And in that, again, acting on that and trusting it, because there's going to be huge distractions at the moment with social media, with the news, with your phone, trying to stay in touch with everyone. Just check in with yourself first before you go into your day, and at the end of the day, how do I feel today? What is going on for me today? Okay? No, again, don't go into that numbing behaviour. Just be aware of when you're in it. If you're comfort eating, or you're maybe drinking a little bit more than normal, or you're making yourself super busy, so you don't have to feel, that panic or that worry or the anxiety. Let yourself feel and check in, okay? Number four then is how to create some of your own clarity through this. So if we don't have that external big clarity up here, we can create some of our own clarity. So how do we do that? Super simple way. This is part of a planning process that I use with all my clients called Pause and Passion Plan. It's a very kind of smaller version of it, but it's based on leading with how you feel. So if you want to read any more on this, amazing book by a lady called Danielle Laporte, and she wrote something called Desire Map, which is all about planning goals with soul, which is leading with feeling, and the brain searches for the feeling over the thing, so that it's a super powerful way to set goals. So the first step to creating your own clarity then is just, first of all, to think about what is the feeling that you most want to feel through all of this, through this scenario, should we call it, that we're going through at the moment, and everything that's going on. How do you most want to feel? So from my clients last week, when we did this collectively, they wanted to feel more balanced, they wanted to feel more secure, they wanted to feel like they had more clarity, some of them wanted to feel more calm, some of them wanted to feel more connected. So have a think about your word. Think of it like a hashtag or a headline. So that's the first step. Second step then is to think of a couple of things, almost like ingredients in a recipe. What are your ingredients to fill that word right now, given some restrictions that we have? So if it was to feel more connected, what are your couple of actions? What are your couple of ingredients that are going to help you to feel that recipe of more connected? So think about what are those few things. And then the third step is to take those actions and the ingredients and start to put them into your diary. Okay. Sorry, just getting someone messaging me through. So if you could, what are the steps you're actually going to do, and you're going to put them into your diary. So once they're in your diary, they're committed time, and honour that time like you would, just like you would if it was an appointment with someone. Honour that time that you've booked in for you in the same way that you do for someone else. So that's how to create your own clarity. Then final couple of things that I wanted to go through with you. I also just wanted to go for you a great tool for when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling like you're getting so busy that your head's you don't know what's going on in your own head. I want you to create something called a peace of mind list. I'm going to pop one of my worksheets in here that takes you through the more detailed process. But this is a super, super simple way of when you're like, I just don't know where to start. There's just too much to do, too much to think about. I cannot think straight. When you get to that point? I know, I certainly get there sometimes. So the first step to that is just create a brain dump. So get a blank sheet of paper, brain dump everything that you're thinking, everything that you're feeling, and just empty. It's like a mental vomit. Put it all down onto paper. It's almost like if you have one suitcase of luggage in each hand, and then you're going to put it down on the floor and you're going to empty it and unpack it. So you're not carrying that with you anymore, okay? So brain dump everything. Think of it like a mental vomit. Then you're going to go through that list and you're going to look at it and you're going to ask yourself two things. So for everything that you've listed out, ask yourself these two questions. What am I in control of? What am I not in control of? So what can I influence? What can I control? What is not in my control? The things that aren't in your control, go through the list and cross them out, okay? So that's the first step. Second step then, go through that same list, split out data and split out drama. So data is the evidence and what is real and true. Drama are the stories that you might be making up around. So I'm not calling you a liar, it just might be an old story that's cropping up for you. So what is your data, what is your drama? Cross out everything that's drama, all right? So that's your peace of mind list. So what I'll do, I'll get a link and I'll pop back in and I'll give you the worksheet that guides you through the peace of mind list. And then two more things to think about. Just think about what are your lessons from this so far. What have you learned? What have you learned about family time? What have you learned about what's important to you? What have you learned about how you're going to manage your health through this? Just what have you learned? What are your lessons? It's a silver lining theory. And the silver lining theory is the idea that if we go through something that is huge and it's really challenging for us, that we can actually take something from it and we grow because of it. It's almost like diamonds being formed under pressure. So how are you going to grow from this? What are your lessons? What are you going to take forward into the after to do differently or more of or less of? And then the final thing is just to prompt you to think about your relationship with social media. So with social media, are you on it a lot more? Are you losing yourself? What one of my clients called the scroll hole. Are you losing yourself in that? Or are you triggered by watching the news and you're looking at mortality rates? And I think the first week I just did that every single day and I felt awful. And also the conspiracy theorists ranging from 5G mass, it's all linked to that, through to actually it's the hard reset that the world needed. And I'm not going to share my views here, but I think, there's a place for everyone's opinion and there's freedom of speech, obviously, but it's just, I don't need to hear all of them. There's enough going on in my own life right now. So that's everything I wanted to go through. Do you have any question? Do you have any questions? Just pop it below. If not, I'm going to head off and get the note, the worksheet. And I'm also wanted to invite you all as well. If you're feeling like you don't have clarity right now, if you're feeling overwhelmed and stuck with where you are, you're invited to my Clarity Challenge, which starts a week today. So we're going to be in the throngs of it on the first day by now. And it's 5 super simple feel-good tasks over 5 days. Take 15 to 20 minutes a day. And I'm going to be guiding you from feeling maybe a bit confused, a bit lost or a bit stuck, back to clarity on who you are and confidence to take some inspired action. And I think it's needed now more than ever. So I would really love you to come and join that. If you feel it's not for you, I still love you, but I would love you to tag someone it might help or just share it with them. So I'm going to pop a link to that below and you are all invited. I would love to we've got just over 110 women in there. I think it'd be great to get up to 200, 250 women because the collective energy and empathy is absolutely huge. So that's my invitation to you if you've enjoyed today and any of what I've said resonated with you. So yeah, so that's it. So I'm going to go away now and get that worksheet for you. I'll pop a link to the challenge below. And if you need anything else, you have any questions, just let me know. And lots of love to you all during this strange time. And hopefully that's really helped you all. Lots of love. Bye.